Check. Can you hear me out there? Type 1 if you can hear me. I gotta start doing this instead of just saying check. I just gotta say, you guys can hear me. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to an impromptu Red Sea live stream. I was gonna just sit here and make a video, but I said, you know what? Let's talk about this in person, huh? Well, we've been doing this lately, but we haven't been doing this in a little bit. Ladies and gentlemen, the Boston Red Sox, they've made themselves a move, folks. What is going on tonight? Little Sunday before Christmas type deal? Let's talk about this, huh? So first, let's talk about who the Red Sox actually traded for, shall we? I feel like that's what we should start with. I feel like that's what we should start with. Hold on. See, now you guys are seeing me twice. Weird, huh? All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the actual trade itself. Let me see here. So, the Boston Red Sox are acquiring first baseman Willson Contreras from the St. Louis Cardinals. I got to tell you, so the first thing we need to figure out is, ladies and gentlemen, what is the actual package, right? What did the Red Sox end up giving up in order to get Willson Contreras? Now, the other thing, too, is what's interesting, just came through. It is believed that the Red Sox are receiving cash along with Contreras, so it's not going to be an incredibly small package, I would imagine. The other thing, Will Sampson just tweeted out, the Red Sox are acquiring Willson Contreras in trade with the Cardinals. We know that. The Cardinals are expected to receive pitching in the deal. This is where I'm sort of sitting here with bated breath, right? This is where I'm sitting here saying, okay, wait a second here. What did the Red Sox give up to get him? And we'll see, right? Who knows, right? Who knows? But while we're sitting here sort of live and in person waiting for this information, let's talk about Contreras a little bit, because there are a few things that I think we need to talk about, right? I think a few people are going to talk about the age, right? I mean, he's 33. He's going to be 34 this season. Obviously, a little bit of a concern. But to me, the bat profile, I really like, right? I like it a lot. It's a 257 average. It's like there's no signs of true regression in his bat recently. Yeah. So he's a catcher, but he's been a first baseman now. He'll be a first baseman and a catcher. It's Hunter Dobbins. Okay, so Passan tweeted out. Hold on. Passan tweeted it out. Let's look at it together. We're looking at it together. Yeah, wow. That's crazy. So right-hander Hunter Dobbins is the headliner in this package going back to the St. Louis Cardinals. Additional minor league arms in the deal. Look, Dobbins to me is like a personality that sucks. But I don't think this is really like $10 super chat from the Bloosh. I hope I said that right. Merry Christmas to you as well. Thank you so much, man. You know what? Not another Sox podcast. I thought about you guys the second I just saw that. Man, this is like you're losing a fan favorite here, right? This is what you're doing. You're losing a fan favorite. But you could have lost. You could have lost for all the assets we've traded this offseason. We should have so much better players. I don't know that. I don't like as much as I love Hunter Dobbins, the person, as much as I think he could have been a solid pitcher. I don't know that this was going to be the Hunter Dobbins is never going to be a number 3 in your rotation, right? I think best case scenario, you sat there with Dobbins and you were like, all right, yeah, he's going to be a solid number 4, number 5 with you, right? To me, I'm more interested in sort of where the supplemental pieces are. Right? That's what I'm kind of interested in. You know what I mean? But if we go back to Contreras here, because I think a lot of people are saying it doesn't really do anything for us. It's not really a ton of things. I don't really think that's totally true. Right? I think Willson can do something for us here, right? I mean, again, you look at the last, let's look at, the one thing I think that stands out to me is a $2 super chat from Base Sox. Thank you so much. We get Bregman and we're good. I don't know. I think you're in a solid spot, right? I think this is sort of where, to be honest with you, this is what I said. Like, if you get Contreras, you get Bregman, you add another pitcher, you're in a good spot coming into the season. And that's where I'm personally, that's where I was at. Not this move, but if you put all the guys together, I don't disagree versatility, but I also think it's a conversation of could these guys have been put together, right? Is there a package out there that right now you could have put, you could have put Perales and Dobbins and I'm trying to remember something, Fitz and package them together for something? Yeah, you probably could have, right? A Sonny Gray and a Wilson Contreras, which is what you did anyway. So I don't know, right? To me, this is interesting, but let's talk about Wilson Contreras a little bit here. Again, the big thing is that he's a little bit older, right? He's going to be in his age 34 season, but there's not really a ton of signs of regression here. It's about 20 home runs. It's, he's going to hit RBIs if there's guys on base here, and I think that's something to pay attention to. It's not incredibly high in terms of a batting average here, but he's got a decent on base percentage. He's got a decent slug. If you look at the Baseball Savant page as well, for going into his age 34 season, like, I'm okay adding this bat to the middle of this lineup, right? If like JC, if you're just basing this guy based solely on his batting average, you're never going to like anybody. You know what I mean? So you sit here with all this, and it's like, okay, the bat speed's elite. That's fantastic for a guy who's 34 years old, in my opinion, right? He's going to give you some strikeouts. The walk rate, did the walk rate go up this year? I remember there was conversation. Yeah. So the walk rate is something that in the past he's been pretty good with, right? It's always sort of been above average. It dropped a little bit this year, which is something to pay attention to for sure. But you look at the average exit velocities, you look at the expected slugging, the expected weighted on base. It's all really, really solid. And so, I think what you're doing here is you're looking at a guy who's going to be a solid addition to your lineup. And this is what you kind of needed, right? You needed a guy who can do this. And again, I don't think that this is your main piece. And I actually tweeted this out immediately, right? And it was, I'm big on this. I like this move if it's not your only offensive move, right? This we talked about this in the video I made about him. If this is your complementary move, I think I'm really happy with it. But if this is your big move, this is a problem, right? Of course it is. But you look, you look at some, a majority of his home runs were to the pull side. In fact, a lot of his doubles were to the pull side as well. If you look over here, 81 games at Fenway Park. I think that's really solid. The fit's going to be incredibly interesting to me. He's a first baseman, right? He's a right-handed first baseman, so you can platoon him a bit with Triston Casas at some point here. The other part of this, too, is that he can catch a little bit. Right, he's not just a first baseman. So now you've got your third. You've essentially got a third catcher, a first baseman, and a DH. Right, and forget about Bregman. I don't think this has anything to do with Bregman. To me, these are totally two separate things. Everyone was saying the Red Sox need two bats. Right, it was always going to be one of these bigger pieces, or hopefully one of these bigger pieces, right, and then a complementary bat to go along with it. This to me doesn't scream main bat. This to me screams this is your complementary bat to this. So no, I don't think this is goodbye Bregman. I don't think this is anything like that. He's a first baseman by trade, and this doesn't, in my opinion, have anything to do with filling the hole of Alex Bregman. Right? But I like the fit here. I like the fit here in terms of what it could do to the Boston Red Sox. Now tomorrow's video will be breaking down the full trade here. Like really sort of diving into the money and stuff. But this stream is going to be more of a sort of a initial reaction, because to be honest with you, we're getting the news together, right? Both of us are getting the news together. $5 super chat from Rob Pinto Bean. Hell of a name here. What now with Casas? I feel I like Contreras, but we better get Breggy back. I feel like Contreras is an everyday guy, but what about Casas? So thank you for the $5 super chat. By the way, thank you to everyone who's donated so far this stream. It's very simple, in my opinion, Pinto. Right now, I think what this does is it allows them options at first base, right? You can use Wilson Contreras, who, by the way, really solid first baseman this year. If you look at his outs above average, he was in the 91st percentile at first base, right? It's been a bit of a defensive issue for you for a couple of years now here. So if you could solve that too, that's absolutely fantastic. But now what you could do with Contreras is you got an option. Maybe he catches once a month, once a week, or a couple times a month, or something like that. You can use him at the DH position because you've got Masu's a lefty who hasn't hit righties all that well, and then you've got Casas at first base too. So you can kind of move these guys around a little bit, and I like that a lot, right? So that to me is another big thing as to sort of how this puzzle fits together here. Does this mean they're going to trade Casas? I don't think they trade. I've talked about this before. I think if someone wants Casas, I think they'll go out there and talk about Casas, but I don't think they're openly shopping him just because his value's so low. You're very happy with this? Yeah, I think it's a solid supplemental piece here. What is Dobbins' ceiling? I would say Dobbins' ceiling is best case scenario number 3, right? Probably more realistically an everyday number 4, number 5. He's a great person, so that was huge. Any news on what they gave up? Yeah, so here is let me see, where'd it go? Oh, here it is right here. Hunter Dobbins is the headliner in this package. Someone said to check Nightingale. I'm curious. What I really want to see now is the money. Yeah. The Cardinals are expected to pay a substantial part of contract with Contreras, owed $40.5 million over the next 2 seasons. So this, to me, is going to be the biggest indicator. If they traded Dobbins and let's say some lower-end pitching prospects in order to get Contreras, but they get Contreras at $10 million a season, this is huge, right? This is massive because then we don't have to deal with the conversations of how close does this put them into, we're not going to spend any more money territory. Because if they get into that one, that's going to be tough. But we'll see. Again, we're live here right now, breaking it down as the news comes out. So if you guys see anything on Twitter or anything like that, let me know. Sound like around half the contract money? Yeah, we don't have specific figures just yet. We're kind of just sitting here waiting for them. I did just get no. I'm waiting for the Twitter. I'm waiting for the Twitter notification is what I'm doing here. What is it with the Sox guys? The guys who get a 260 with 20 home run power. So I'm curious to see if he gets a little bit of a bump in home run here. I think we can go to expected. Isn't there an expected home runs? Yeah, expected home runs by ballpark here. It would have been 18 at Fenway this season. So I'm interested to see what that ends up looking like. Finally, I think this was a good move. I genuinely do think this was a good move. Wilson's hitting 50-plus home runs. Am I going to do a video on this tomorrow? My moderator, Jess, yeah. Boring? I like what is boring about this? I don't know what's boring about this. I feel like people just look for reasons to be angry immediately about trading. So we're taking Cardinals good vets. Yeah, I mean, he waived his no trade clause to come here. What's exciting? The Red Sox getting a really solid player. If we trade Casas, do we put? If we trade Yoshida, do we put Casas at DH? Yeah, I would hope so. I'm not sure you've talked about it, but what's the opinion on Casas now? I think that what this does is it allows the Red Sox a bunch of options, right? It lets the Red Sox sort of figure things out as they come along, right? Because the Red Sox, we don't know, they don't know if Casas is going to be healthy for opening day. They don't know, we don't know if Casas is going to be able to play Major League Baseball come opening day, right? So now they have the ability to sort of let him figure it out on his own, and then, hey, if it works out and he starts to hit and we're feeling good and all that good stuff, right? Now you could platoon him a bit with Contreras. You can have Contreras platoon a bit at DH. You can have Casas at DH a bit. You know, we could sort of do all these sort of different things. Who came up clutch in game 1 of the wild card series? Eaton, Sogard. Trade Casas and Yoshida. Okay. Not a bad move. Going to miss Hunter, but we desperately need a first baseman. I kind of agree with that, right? Do you think we're in on Brendan Donovan too? No, I'd imagine probably not. Maybe they're talking about it, but I would imagine probably not. So Do we know the full details of the trade yet? No. So the only thing we know so far is that Hunter Dobbins is the headline, right? That's kind of it. So, okay. Contreras is guaranteed for the next 2 seasons plus yeah, so all right, so Ken Rosenthal just gave us the full trade. Going head to head with Jim Riley. All right, so here's the full trade, right? I'm so bad at pronouncing this guy's name, but solid. What was he? I bet if I just... Am I spelling it wrong? YH. Yeah, that's it. So it's your number 8 pitching prospects in Yoker Fajardo. I know I'm going to say that wrong. Solid season, but you know, this is where the Red Sox deal from right now, right? You go through the Red Sox top 10 prospects right now. Pitcher, shortstop, pitcher, outfielder, pitcher, shortstop, pitcher, right? You're talking about over half of them being pitchers here. Then you get into like 11 through 15. It's like pitcher, infielder, second base, pitcher, right? You have all this pitching depth. This is what you utilize this pitching depth to go and do. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not really worried about losing a guy, and he's probably really solid. Right? And, you know, MLB.com's projecting him as 3 pitchers who can make big jumps in 2026, but you don't have a ton of room for him. You know what I mean? You don't have a ton of room for him. And Blake Iada, I don't think he was very high. Yeah, he was your number 36 prospect. So if you're worried about losing your number 36 prospect, ladies and gentlemen, you know what I mean? Like, what are we going to do here? All right, what are we going to do? So the big one is obviously Hunter Dobbins. I think that's the big loss here if you're a Red Sox fan, if you're talking about if you're talking about sort of what's the biggest impact to the Major League roster. It's Hunter Dobbins. But again, you talk about, okay, and we talked about this conversation 1,000 times, right? It's sort of who's filling out the front end. You've got a ton of back end options right now. Cutter can fill up Dobbins' role. Early, Tolley could fill up Dobbins' role. Even a guy like Bayo could fill up, right? You've got so many options as to whether or not or how you fill out this rotation. It's not the end of the world to go out there and actually, you know, utilize some of this depth to go and improve other parts of your team. And I think that's exactly what the Red Sox did here. So I don't hate this at all. Right? And I don't hate that. I really don't hate the package itself. I don't think the Red Sox overpaid. I don't think Red Sox really got screwed or anything. I mean, it was probably a dead even deal. Again, this comes down to the amount of money that ended up getting crossed over here, right? If you get half this money, I think it's a much better trade than, you know, what's originally being put on here, right? And yeah, I think C+ would probably be a fair grade for it right now, versatility. But again, if the Cardinals are going to give you half of the package here, or half of the money getting spent here, I'm okay with it. You know, what is his name on Twitter now? Stats? What is it? Is it still Red? Is it this? This isn't him. In this case, where does it mean? Okay, we're talking about Jaron Moran for some reason right now. Yeah, we still don't have the money here. $8 million. Is it $8 million a season? $8 million from who? From Chris? Oh, I'm an idiot. So it's $8 million total, or $8 million a season? It looks like $8 million total, right? So he was owed what, $40.5 million. You take off $8 million of that, it's now what, $32 million. 32 over 2 years, so it's like $15 million a year, $16 million, $16 million a season. I'd like $16 million a season for Wilson Contreras at this age. I think is perfectly fine. Right? I don't think this is too bad at all. They finally did something. Yeah, I know. It feels good to be live and actually talking about things. All right, so Jeff Passan just laid out the full tweet. Let's look at this. Or the full trade. So here's the full trade. So they do get $8 million to cover part of his remaining $41.5 million salary. The Red Sox, as we've said, give up Hunter Dobbins, Yoker Fajardo. I really hope I said that right. He was the number 8 prospect in the Red Sox system, according to Sox Prospects. Again, you talk about, okay, feels like a lot, but you talk about a ton of Red Sox pitching prospects right now and just not enough places to put them. This is like to me, we can't sit here and say, make the team better. And then the Red Sox go and they make the team better. And you go, well, not with those guys, right? To me, I don't really understand that kind of thinking. Would I honestly give Bregman 5+ years? I would. C grade at best, being generous? I don't think so. I don't think this is a C. I don't think this is a C grade at best. I think this is a B- trade, and we'll see how this works out, right? We'll see how this works out. But to me, the biggest things, you go back to what were the Red Sox missing last season? They were missing hard contact, right? And you look at what Wilson Contreras provides. It's good, solid first base defense, and it's hard contact. You're taking a hit a little bit with the swing and miss here, but again, he has a history over the last, it's not like, back when he was like 28. It's like the last 2 seasons. This is 24, this is 23, where he got on base quite a bit, right? If you can get him back to there, I think he looks like a lot better player, and I think you can do a lot with Wilson Contreras. You can utilize him in different ways defensively. You can utilize him different ways to offensively to utilize him, right? So I don't hate this, right? You talk about, okay, you need a supplemental bat here. The conversation was, it was Okamoto, it was Isaac Paredes, it was Wilson Contreras. I'm glad they got one of the 3 of these, right? I think this is solid overall for the Red Sox. Use prospect 23. No, I don't use MLB. I use Sox Prospects. They have him at number 8. Yeah, he was number 4 defensively at first base and outs above average. There was a tweet a while ago where it was like, top WAR players from the 2016 class. He was number 5 in it. This is interesting to me. Is it official? Yeah, it's an official trade. This is the official trade. Did he sign Imai? I don't know. They were sneaky connected to him this weekend. That's what I was going to talk about tomorrow, but with the Red Sox doing this, obviously. So Triston Casas is getting traded now for sure, right? No, I don't think this is a sign that the Red Sox are trading Triston Casas. In fact, I would probably say kind of the opposite, right? I think it allows the Boston Red Sox to do a whole bunch of different things with Triston Casas that they wouldn't have been able to, like before. It was, okay, if you didn't get a first baseman, Triston Casas has to be ready for opening day, and he has to be ready for Major League Baseball opening day. Right now, he doesn't have to do that. They don't know if he's going to be healthy. They don't know if he's going to be ready for first base, right? So now you have the ability to say, okay, if he is ready, great. You can put him on the roster. They can platoon a bit at first base. Wilson Contreras can play a little DH when Casas is playing first base, and a little bit of vice versa. We can mix Massa in there. You can come in here. And you can have Wilson Contreras catch once in a while, right? It's only 2 years left in the contract, Tony. We can put Casas at third base. We don't sign Bregman. I would be, please do not do that. All right, so Katie Wu also just gave us the updated contract figures here. If we go back here, new contract figures for Wilson Contreras. Buyout increases to 7.5, and new club option in 2028 increases from 17.5 to 20 million. So basically, the Red Sox say no in 28. They give him 7.5. They say yes. They give him 20. He also receives an additional $1 million for trading his no trade clause, which I always like when guys are like, yeah, I want to come here. You know what I mean? I don't hate that at all. Really need to start a second team, huh? Oh, I see what you mean. Casas started his career at third base. Yeah, but brother, he wasn't a good defensive first baseman. I don't trust him at all over there at third base. What's my take if Bregman signs with Toronto? I'm heated. We'll talk about Bregman Toronto at some point, but I don't hate it. Or I'm sorry. I don't hate the idea the Red Sox re-signing Bregman right now. I'm not sitting here saying that I think that the Blue Jays are a serious contender. I think they've got their sights signed on Bellinger or Tucker, and if they don't get one of those guys, we'll see. Put him at catcher? Yeah, there's the answer. Why be happy with option D? Here's the problem people are immediately going to is that this is the big move the Red Sox are making, right? And I just don't think that's a true answer here, right? Who are plans A and B and C here, Alex? Right? Because if your plans A, B, and C were, Bregman, Bichette, right, go trade for Ketel Marte, that's an entirely different category. We've known since day one of this offseason that the Red Sox plan was to go out and hopefully bring in a legitimate, huge, big impact bat, whether that's retaining Bregman, whether that's bringing in Bichette, whether that's trading for Ketel Marte, whether it's doing one of those three things. Hell, get crazy and go get Kyle Tucker, right? Ideally, it would have been a Pete Alonso, but you missed the boat on that. Right? So it was always going to be something in that category and then something in this category where the guys are all pretty similar, right? Okamoto, Isaac Paredes, and Wilson Contreras were kind of in this supplemental category. So it's two different conversations, right? You could sit here and say that this wasn't a big enough move for the Boston Red Sox, and that's fine, but it's also not the Red Sox only offensive move we're making this offseason. And I think that's the point you need to remember, is that this isn't the, oh my God, this is who the Red Sox are going to turn this lineup around. And that's not really what it is. Right? This to me is, this was our B answer. Now we need to go get our A answer. The A market's getting held up by whatever it may end up being held up by. Let's go figure out this B part. Let's go get the complementary piece and come back to the A answer. Are the Brewers holding on to Peralta this offseason? Honestly, I don't know. People forget Baltimore was just as much, if not better, young proven talent as well. Wait, what? What does that have to do with this? The trade is very good. We didn't give up much for Contreras, but I also don't think we got much. He had almost 500 at-bats last year and only 20 home runs. Not an impact addition. I mean, it's tough to sit here and say that 20 home runs and 80 RBIs from first base is a non-addition to the Boston Red Sox. When last season, what did they get in total at first base here? Right, in total at first base between the three guys who played at first base this year. Right, you got what? 12 home runs, 30, 38, 40, 44. You got 44 RBIs. You got like a total of like, and this isn't even counting Romy into this. I don't know why they don't have Romy in here, but like, but he wasn't a first baseman. Yeah, he is a first baseman this year. Garbage is what they got. I mean, people like it feels like you guys are just trying to be mad. It really does. Right? Like you're immediately like, oh, this is our number 3 in our order. I'm pissed. It's like, well, how do we know that? What do we do with Romy Gonzalez now? Romy goes back to what Romy was doing best, which is just sort of being that right-handed hitter that mashes lefties, right? And he can be utilized in a bunch of different positions. You can utilize him in second base, third base, first base. You can even have him at shortstop once in a while. He becomes our utility player. You subtract Bregman's 18 home runs and add, we still haven't gotten better. No, but again, versatility. Guys, please just listen to what I'm saying here. This is your second addition. You just haven't made your first addition yet. If you come out of the offseason with just Contreras, I agree, it didn't get better. If you come out of the offseason with a Contreras and a Bregman, Bichette, Marte, whoever you want to call it here, you got better. You did get better offensively, right? You need to remember that this isn't the main piece the Red Sox are getting this offseason in terms of their offense, or at least not yet. If it becomes that in the future, then we can have that conversation. But for right now, it's not worth your time or my time to sit here and get all pissy about something we don't even know is happening yet. Corbin, listen to what we are saying right now. We aren't better. You are assuming they will do better. Yes, because they haven't, because the offseason isn't over yet. What you're doing right now, versatility, is you're making the assumption that they are not going to do anything else. Right? Like I'm saying here, this is a solid addition to the Boston Red Sox. I'm not saying this makes us World Series contenders. Right? At no point did I sit here and say that, oh, this is the guy. Right? This whole time I've been saying this is a complementary piece and a solid complementary piece. But to sit here and say that this is the main guy is the wrong thing to say. Right? So if you're getting mad because you think this is the main guy the Red Sox are picking up this offseason, you're wrong right now. And if it becomes a reality, then we can get mad about it. But to get mad about it right now doesn't make any sense. Time to move on from Casas? No, this allows you to be really patient with Casas. Who's to say the Red Sox don't see Contreras as the big bat they want? Yeah, I'm not I'm not sitting here declaring anything for the Red Sox. My only point is I think you're making assumptions that aren't there yet. Bregman is the better guy had he had the exact... Wait, this is the main guy right now. Bregman is the better guy had he had the same amount of stats. I don't understand what you're saying, versatility. This move is in keeping with the front office way of doing business. I can live with this trade. I think it's a solid bat. I do. I wish we could move Massa and let Casas DH. I would love that. I would love that. Is Joe Ryan now? Joe Ryan's off. Nightingale says that Marte talks are probably over. I don't think it. That kind of makes sense a bit. The Red Sox, who will be responsible for $32.5 million of the $40.5 million owed by Wilson Contreras, are now expected to end trade talks with the Arizona Diamondbacks for Ketel Marte. That sucks, right? That definitely sucks. But again, you add a guy who can hit 20 home runs, 80 RBIs to first base, in with Bregman, who can hit 25 home runs, 80 RBIs, right? But he has the exact same stats as Contreras. Like, versatility. Name another guy in this lineup. Like, you need to add guys who could do things like Bregman can do. And they're totally different skill sets, too. Like, Contreras hits the ball much harder, but Bregman's a much tougher out. You had two of those guys. If you had two Bregmans to this lineup, you're probably in a much better position than you were last season. With a full season of Roman Anthony, with being able to put Marcel Meyer in there every day, whether or not he gets injured or not, we'll see. Right? But you're allowing these young guys to shine. You're adding another 20 home run bats. It's not the 40 home run guy. I agree. You should have gone and got the 40 home run guy, but you didn't get that guy. So what did you add? You added a 20 home run bat to another 20 home run bat. Murakami, we can't put Murakami in there. Clearly teams did not believe that Murakami was going to be a legitimate everyday baseball player. Do I think we overpaid? No, I don't think you overpaid. I think this was a pretty fair trade. Anyone better than? Yeah, probably Dennis. We are hating that this is the move. We don't know that this is the move. We don't. We don't. Not a bad trade. There's options now with Contreras, a decent player. Yeah, I agree. Gonna miss Dobbins? Yeah, Dobbins was a good guy. The trade for trade's sake is a good trade. I just want better. Look, you could sit here and you could say you wanted Pete Alonso, you wanted this guy, you wanted that guy. I can totally understand that, right? But to me, like, what I do when these guys get moved is, okay, what does this do for the Red Sox? Instead of, boy, what could that have done for the Red Sox? It's just not possible anymore, right? What does this guy do for the Red Sox? He adds legitimate power, and I don't think it's crazy to say legitimate power when you got a guy who's been constantly putting up, when he's healthy, 20 home runs. Right? He's 20 home runs over the season. Nothing to get excited about? Dude, like, come on. I like the trade. It's a move in the right direction. Contreras is a good ball player. Plenty of time left to do more. No sweat. Yeah, I think this is solid. Still be a play for Okamoto. If they go Wilson Contreras Okamoto, I don't know that I'd be incredibly happy. I still want Devers here, and people in hell want ice water. Dude, yeah. Like the Devers thing I'll never get over. And I don't think a lot of Red Sox fans will ever get over. Could we still get Okamoto? To me, doesn't make sense to get Okamoto, right? When I talked about this earlier, it was like, okay, here's the sort of, circle of legitimate impact players. Okamoto was kind of in the other circle. With Contreras, with Isaac Paredes, right? It was never going to be a legitimate Okamoto's the big bad addition to the Red Sox. It was always going to be sort of, he's going to be the complemental bat to the Red Sox. So I personally, I think this means that they preferred Contreras over an Okamoto, which I don't think is a terrible idea for the Red Sox, right? Talks ending with Arizona for Marte may mean this is the end. Yeah, but to be fair, first of all, you like this is oops. We're talking about Bob Nightingale here, right? So let's let's ease the brakes a tiny little bit until we get more official word than Bob Nightingale here, right? I don't think we've seen anything else from anyone saying that, so we'll see. Contreras is proven. Absolutely. Would have rather had Marte? Yeah, dude. No one's gonna sit here and say you would have rather had. Who can anyone put their hand up and say I'd rather have Contreras than Marte? No, right? That's not the conversations. Proven what? To be an everyday major league player. Like, people, we're getting mad over everything here. Like, I just, like, we're mad to be mad. They wanted a first baseman and 2 big bats? No, versatility. That's never what they said. They never said they wanted to get 3 bats this offseason. It was always, from day one, they wanted 2 bats, and we sat here and we said it should be 2 of the big bats. Right? It should be. It should be Bregman and Alonso, Tucker, Bichette. But we knew, based on every single report, it was never going to be that. It was always going to be one of those names and a complemental bat. So to sit here and rewrite that history, it doesn't make any sense to me. Was this rumored at all? Yeah. This was rumored. Yeah, we saw the Red Sox. We heard the Red Sox were in on Contreras a few times. I actually made a video about this, I don't know, about a week ago. Yeah, I mean, you end up with Bregman and Contreras. I think you added 2, like okay, so Bregman gets you back to where you were, right? Contreras adds 20 home runs, 80 RBIs. Bradford says what? No, dude, he's just saying he's a middle of the order bat, which he is, a middle of the order bat. He's not saying he's the only bat the Red Sox are adding. He's just, literally all he's saying is that he's a good hitter. You know what I mean? But that's all he's saying. He's not saying that this is the big bat. You know what I mean? Where do you go from here, in my opinion? I think you bring back Bregman and you look to see if you can move, keep your Duran price high and see if someone bites on it. So I would rather not have an ace. You're just putting words in my mouth, Nick? I don't understand. He's the big bat right now? Yeah, he is the big bat addition right now. Like, I'm not arguing with that. Like, at no point was I arguing that he's not the big bat right now. My argument was that we don't know what this is going to be over when spring training starts. Our hope is this isn't our big bat. I think this trade would be viewed different after Big Bat was signed. Yeah, I agree, right? If you had brought back Bregman first, then you added Wilson Contreras, I think a lot more people would be like, all right, cool. You know? We're forgetting that opening day is tomorrow? Oh, right. Your argument is we are going to somehow trade for Ohtani, I guess. Yeah, you got me, versatility. Contreras and Casas hopefully push each other to be at first this season as the season progresses. That's the other thing, too. I think a lot of people sit here and they, like one thing that's get brought up, which is rightfully brought up, is that he never plays a full season. Now, to be fair here is if we are looking at like here to here, he was a catcher. Right from here, well, really here to here, he was a catcher for most of his career, right? And there are no real catchers in Major League Baseball who catch a full 162. It's just not possible. So these seasons where it's like 128, 125, the majority of that is there's maybe some injuries mixed in there, but a majority of it is you're getting these guys off their feet, right? You're preventing them from losing their knees too early in their career. So that's a big part of it, right? This was the first season he was at third base, and it was 135 games. Now, if he's going to give you 135 games going forward, and as long as he's healthy for the playoffs, again, you've got options. You've got the ability to push Casas back in there. You've got the ability to move him around at DH for a bit, get him off his feet so he's not playing the field as much going forward, right? Because now you've got Romy, you've got Triston, you've got Nick Sogard, who can all cover first base for what? 20 games? Great pitchers, Bobby, let me ask you this, Bobby. We're a great pitcher. To me, let's talk about what a great pitcher is, right? To me, a great pitcher is a guy who can be a number one or number two in any rotation in baseball. Right? That's what a great pitcher is. Now, can you explain to me, Bobby, how Hunter Dobbins and Richard Fitz fit into that great category? I'll sit here silently and wait. If we sign Bregman, the Sox are where they were last year. But you just added a guy who can hit 20 home runs and 80 RBIs. You're better than you were last year. That's awesome, Mike. No, Dobbins is coming off ACL surgery. By history, we do know. Okay, explain that to me, Bobby. What in history makes Richard Fitz and Hunter Dobbins great pitchers? Who do we give up for Contreras? Here's the full package. Where'd it go? Oh, it's in here. We were 7 home runs better than last year. That's not moving the needle that much. All right, man. If you want to hate every single move the Red Sox make versatility, okay. Okay. You know what I mean? We'll see how it plays out. I'd argue that after Contreras, Bo would be better than Bregman. No, J.A., I don't think this puts the Red Sox out of making any other offensive moves. I don't. And I've been huge in that Bregman camp. Look, if you get Bo, I would love it. I don't know. Look, you get Bo, you bring back Bregman, I'm happy with either of those. Who's the big bat? Brother, you add in a fully healthy Bregman. You add in a Wilson Contreras. You've upgraded your lineup. You have, right? And then you have a full season of Roman Anthony. You got Willier out there. Like you're talking about potentially having what? 6 guys who are 20-plus home runs? How many guys in the Red Sox lineup last year had 20-plus home runs? How many? 2. Right? Bregman has all the potential in the world to have more than 20 home runs. You add in Wilson Contreras, who has more than 20 home runs. You add in Roman Anthony on a full season. He'll probably hit 20 more home runs. Right? All of a sudden, you're at potentially 5 dudes with 20 home runs. So, no, it's not just 7+ home runs. Right? You're increasing the ceiling of this offense. Bregman and Contreras hit less than 20. No, Contreras had 20 home runs this season. 20. So all of a sudden you're sitting here and you're like, okay, like if you could take this and turn it into 5 guys with 20+ home runs, hey, let's see if Wilson Contreras at Fenway Park can get to 25 to 30. Let's see if a full season of Willier Bray could get you to 25 or 30. Those 2 pitchers are very hard to come by. You could use them in many different ways. The bullpen, in the bullpen. Bobby, so you're telling me you can't use Kyle Harrison in the bullpen. You can't use any of the pitchers the Red Sox picked up, either Rule 5 or trade-wise this offseason in the bullpen. You also can't see Cutter Crawford coming out of the bullpen and being that number 5. What about Patrick Sandoval? You couldn't use them, right? You have so many depth guys, but that doesn't answer my question, Bobby. You said these 2 pitchers are great pitchers. What makes these pitchers great pitchers? All right, nonchalant. That's just flat out really stupid. People are emotional because it isn't Alonso, and I understand that. But again, you got to talk about the fact that you got to talk about what did happen. How does this improve the Red Sox as opposed to what the Red Sox didn't do? Right? Like you look at this and you had 2 guys over 20 home runs. Does this take one of the Japanese players off the table, you think? Yeah, I don't think they go for Okamoto. Murakami signed with the White Sox today. He also only played 135 games last year. Yeah, so you sit there, right? You sit there, and again, Shin, you talk about, okay, if this is going to be a guy who going forward gives you 132 games a season, right? You also talk about the fact the Red Sox have Triston Casas coming back. You got Romy Gonzalez over there. You've got Nick Sogard over there, right? You've got options to fill in those other 30 games. You do. Right? And again, you've got options to help Wilson Contreras hopefully stay healthy. Where you sit there and you put him at DH or you platoon him a little bit with Casas just a little bit, right? But Bobby, the offseason isn't over yet. They haven't spent money, but it's not even Christmas. You've got a month and a half, 2 months until spring training. Apparently the Sox are out of Marte, according to Bob Nightingale. Yeah, let's let that play out a bit. Bob's not exactly, the prophet of the MLB. You know what I mean? Are the Cardinals, as a Cardinals fan, are the prospects you were sending any good? Yeah. I'm really bad at pronouncing names, Snips. So, Yokner, according to our own Sox prospect rankings, number 8. 2.25 ERA in low A. Low A. Do they rebrand themselves? Or was it high A they rebrand themselves? Low A, right? So 225. He's 19 years old. Good strikeouts per nine. It's 10.4 K per nine. 110 whip. And then Dobbins is a dog. He's going to be a back end guy, right? He's a 4 or 5. He's a 4 or 5. Bobby. Show me how Wilson Contreras declined recently. Sox fans love Contreras. You'd be surprised. Could the Sox still get the Japanese pitcher? I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, he's a solid defensive player for sure. Contreras-ism over great defensive upgrade. Do you think we could see Witherspoon soon in the majors? Yeah, I think you could absolutely see him move up through the system pretty quickly. What number will Contreras wear? I don't even know what number Contreras wore now. I can't even read that. What is that, 60? 50? I don't know. I have no idea. 49? Do you really think it's a needle mover? No, I don't think this is the move that puts you into, hey, we're going to win a World Series, but I think this is a solid addition. Right? I think this is a really solid addition. 40, he wears 40. Oh, 39, 38. Is 38 taken? I'm really bad. I'm really bad at numbers here. Who do the Red Sox trade for here? This is a full trade. Kyle Harrison wears 38. This is a guy. I think Kyle Harrison could give Wilson Contreras a number, I think he could. Eaton wears 40. Again, I think we're good. Can't believe the Red Sox took that into their locker room. Huh? Am I going to do a projected lineup? Yeah, well, obviously, but I'm going to wait until the actual moves are done before we start talking about the lineup and stuff. What does this mean for Casas? Personally, I don't think it means much. I think, again, like I've said it a few times this live stream, it's a matter of, to me at least, a matter of allowing Casas the opportunity to get healthy, to get major league healthy specifically. Arenado, like Arenado to me is the guy that I'm shocked Red Sox fans even want anything to do with. Like, genuinely shocked. Finally, the Red Sox do something positive. Yeah, I'd agree. I think it's a positive trade. Why Bregman over Bichette? To me, I think when you look at Bregman versus Bichette, no, I don't think this means Bregman is gone, Mark. I really don't. To me, the reason why I'd still say Bregman over Bichette is one, the off-field intangibles, I think, put him over the edge a little bit. Two, I think he's proven he can do it in a Red Sox uniform at Fenway Park. I think that's important. Three, I think, the contract lengths are going to be about the same. The injury history is about the same, right? And I just think those things specifically, plus no QO offer as well. I think that also puts him over the edge for me. Again, if you end up pivoting to Bichette before Bregman signs and, like, that's sort of your dog, like, that's who you want, I don't care, right? That's cool with me. Perfectly fine with me. Need to dump Massa? Yeah, dude. You dump Massa, I think you're good. I think you're good. Knowledge as a Cubs fan, brother. I like listen. I'm not really gonna take your opinion incredibly seriously. You like that'd be like me going into a Yankee stream and saying things like that about it, or actually that'd be like me going into your stream about a Yankees player that got traded over. You know what I mean? Hyman's now passed on Massa twice. Yeah, that's a good point. Who do we trade for Wilson Contreras? Quite literally on the screen there, David. Could I do a trade package for Massa? Like, there's not really like anything I would do, you know? Yes, I do know that knowledge. Thank you. This deal sucks. I don't think this deal sucks at all. I don't understand the hate here. Is Marte and Bregman still both an option? Well, Nightingale's over here saying the Red Sox are out on Marte because of this trade. We'll see. We'll see. Bregman's absolutely an option. Oh, really? Versatility? I mean, still, right? I think that giving that up is interesting. Massa Ferruzzi Castillo. Coming from a Cubs fan, it's funny, Sox, yeah. I think it's a good trade, but I'm wondering if we needed Dobbins. You could have used Dobbins for sure. Knowledge, we're not going to use him at catcher, brother. We've got like the third best catcher defensively in baseball right now. That's not even a conversation. No one's saying he needs to be the everyday catcher. I like this trade. Yeah, I like it too. I don't want us to deplete the farm system. Oh. The next move should be moving an outfielder. I don't know. I think they'd want to lock down another bat before doing it. Really, Contreras' number play better at Monster? Yeah, I think every right-handed hitter in baseball plays better at Fenway because of the Monster. So we'll see. We have the number one defensive catcher by defensive run saved. Thank you for correcting me, versatility. This trade's a great deal. Yeah, I think this is solid. When Casas comes back, it's platoon first catcher with him. I don't know that he'll be a platoon catcher. I think you'll see him at catcher once in a while. But I think you'll mostly see him at first base and DH. You'd rather have Alonso? Yeah, dude. No one's saying this is better than Alonso. I don't think anyone's saying this is better than Alonso. You think we could have gotten more money? Yeah, if you added a better prospect, but I think the Red Sox are in a position where they absolutely should have, been able to take on this money. We cannot be done? No, I don't think we'll be done. This is such a loser trade. How, guys, come on. Like, what makes this a loser trade? How's his defense? Defense looks really good. Defense at first base specifically, solid. His outs above average are solid. I think he'll be a solid first baseman. I don't think he's going to win a Gold Glove or anything over there, but he'll be a solid first baseman. Are there any first basemen on the market you would have preferred? Yeah, it would have been Pete Alonso, right? But in terms of available, I don't know, right? Like maybe you have a conversation about Okamoto. Maybe. Will he catch it all? Once in a while, yeah. But he's not going to be He's not going to be an everyday player, catcher. Yandy Diaz would have been much better. Yeah, but Yandy Diaz had to have been made available, man. Yandy Diaz wasn't available. How do I feel? I like it. I like it, right? I think it's a solid addition to the Red Sox. I just don't think it's the main addition. Like if this ends up being the main edition, I think I'm going to be upset about it. But as it is right now, I think it's a solid name. Yeah, I agree, Bob, but Caminero would have been better too. True. Murakami did sign with the White Sox today, yes. Hey, what do I think about the trade the Pirates won? What? This is definitely the main addition. E, we'll see, dude. I like you're just making assumptions just to make yourself mad. Unlike past years, our farm system's actually really good and we can produce. It's been pretty good for a while. What's Breggy's asking price? He wants 6 years. I don't know if he'll get 6 years. We'll see. Okay, knowledge. You know what, buddy? When he has clubhouse issues, you know, you can come on here and you could say, I told you so. Until then, I truly don't care. Now Bregman walks. How? Guys, assuming Murakami's going to be a better player than Wilson Contreras is kind of wild. Considering no other major league team decided to offer him a long-term contract, that dude's original projected contract was 5 years, $170 million. He didn't get it. He got 2 years, 30-something. There's a reason for that. You know what I mean? Breslow isn't worried about trading pitchers because of the fact that you develop more. Yeah, I totally agree. Who wanted Contreras? I did. As a supplemental piece, I absolutely wanted Contreras. I made a whole video talking about how much I wanted him. I think it's okay trade. If people want to be upset about it, then they should blame John Henry. Yeah, sure. Arizona does want Bregman, yeah. What's the next move? I think it's bringing back Bregman. And then once you bring back Bregman, I think you start to at least have conversations about trading one of your outfielders for a controllable starter. We'll see. Right, but I think they don't have. I don't think they make a move with any of their offensive pieces. Yeah, but he's the addition right now. He's not the main addition. And if he does end up being it, then we'll have a different conversation. You know what I mean? But right now you're making the assumption that he is the only addition the Red Sox are making. And I just can't get behind that because there's so much time left in the offseason. They're still heavily connected to Bregman. They're still in conversation with Bo Bichette. We'll see, right? Arizona wanting Bregman doesn't make much sense to me. I think it was more so if they get rid of Marte, but it doesn't sound like they're really trading Marte. I mean, it doesn't sound like the Rays are super in on him anymore. What are we doing about Story? I don't know. Playing him? What do you mean? What makes you think this team spends? Nothing right now, but my point is the offseason isn't over, right? If they do spend, all of a sudden this offseason looks much better. So why don't we sit here and see whether or not they spend as to just making the assumption and getting yourself mad right now? I agree, Sandy. I agree. For real, this is our big move. Assume Bregman re-signs with us. That is still just status quo. This is the big... No. Because the answer here, versatility, is... Again, we talked about this... We've talked about this before, right? I said it right after they lost Pete Alonso. I said, they're not getting that big home run guy, right? They aren't doing it. We've had this conversation before. I'm not going to have it again. My answer was always, here's what you need to do. You need to get better defensively, add some pop, bring Bregman back, and then go and get yourself another starter, right? And you go and you get Contreras, and Contreras is a good defensive player with some pop. Now just bring back Bregman, and let's see what you can get on the starting pitcher trade market for one of these guys. And there's a ton of different options out there, and we'll see, right? So I don't know. Yeah, we knew the Sox weren't looking to get long-term contracts. We've known that for a while, right? They need a number 2 still. Sounds like, I don't know if you guys listened to the Sean McAdam, Chris Cotillo, Section 10. It sounded like they're comfortable with Sonny Gray being the number 2, but like they always want more pitching. So I don't know. To me, I would be relatively upset. And we already talked about this in the Sonny Gray trade, so I'm not gonna rehash this, right? I think I owe you guys what, a Marcel Myers signed baseball if Sonny Gray's the number 2. Knowledge. Okay, dude. You're sitting here arguing with nothing. How about signing Eugenio Suarez? I would be heated if it's Wilson Contreras and Eugenio Suarez. I'm going to be heated if that's it. Yeah, it's a little bit less, PJ. It's about $4 million less a year. So what? It's like 14 mil a season. Yeah, like that would be a really good offseason to me, Chris. Right? You got a little bit better offensively. It's not exactly a bold prediction, E. It's just a negative one, right? Like that could have, like, I don't think that's bold at all. You're not taking a bold stance. Luis Arise? Yeah, no. What are we doing? Why would we trade Duran for Cole Ragans? Because Cole Ragans one of the best statistical pitchers in baseball. What are we doing? What do you mean? Everyone in the AL East has come to. Oh, Ed, you talked to all the GMs in the AL East about that. Do I love Ragans? I love Ragans. All right, Mark. Hey, thanks for being here. Why don't we just sign a top starting pitcher? It's not really, in my opinion, there's not really anyone I'd give it to. It's reality. So then it's not a bold take, E. Yeah, versatility it always felt like it was it always felt like it was going to be bringing back Bregman or an Alonso or a Bichette and then one of these complimentary bats. I like what? Hey, thanks, Sox, for being here. Resign Giolito? I would not like that. It's laughable that everyone wants the team to be better, but won't let anyone go to get there. Yeah, it's interesting. At least we're better than our partner, the Rockies. Yeah, true. Ragas for Duran in a second? That'd be wild. Who are the top 5 starting pitcher and free agents the Red Sox could sign? Framber Valdez, Zach Gallen, Dylan Cease is off the market, right? I don't even know who's left after that. Ragans will cost more than Durant. I agree. I wanted $1 billion offseason, but looks like that was false hope. Gio already signed with someone anyway. Giolito didn't sign with anybody, I don't think. Yeah, we'll see versatility. We'll see. $5 super chat from John. Thanks for the prospects, Boston. At least you guys aren't going to suck for several years like my Cards. Take care of Contreras, guys. A real competitor. First and foremost, can we get some likes on that message? John coming in here, Cardinals fan, came in here, donated to say his piece. I appreciate you, man. Thank you. Hey, enjoy those prospects, man. There's some good guys there. Framber Valdez is someone we should go for in my eyes. I don't know. Wouldn't hate a Zach Gallen signing. I actually wouldn't hate it either. Does he have the QO attached? If he's a QO attached, then probably not. At least we traded for $28 million. Yeah. Sonny Gray is going to surprise everyone this year. We'll see. So Gallen does have a QO. I'm out on that then. If the Red Sox make no more moves, where they finish in the East next year, probably the exact same spot they finished last year. I don't think personally. I think Alonso does a lot for the Orioles. I don't know that you could say they're definitively better than the Red Sox right now. Even with Shane Baz, like Baz was fine. I think there's another gear that he could get to. I don't think you could sit there and say that he's definitively better than anyone on the Red Sox. Saying last is just being doomer to be doomer. I think they end up right around the same, right? I think they end up right around 88 wins. So we'll see. Am I surprised with how much money Dustin May got? No. I think the pitching market's kind of interesting this offseason because there really isn't a ton of options. So people are getting a little bit desperate for starters, I think. Would I be okay with Duran, Early, Campbell, and a lower prospect for Ragans? That would be tough for me to swallow, but You're only better than the Rays. I like people discounting the Red Sox pitching staff just because they haven't added that sort of like FU starter to it is crazy. Like the Red Sox pitching staff in total is much better than the Orioles. And all the Orioles did was add Pete Alonso. Like they're not. Oh, well, I guess they added Tyler Ward too. What will Hulk be like this year on the bench? Like I'm not sitting here saying that the Orioles are going to be a bad team this year. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, objectively saying that the Red Sox are worse right now on paper than the Orioles. I just don't know it's true. I'd actually put them in the same conversation. Much better offensively than us. If everything goes right for the Orioles, maybe, right? Maybe. But let's take a look at their lineup this year. You know, Gunnar was solid, but everyone else had a really down year. Ramon Laureano, for some reason, was pretty good, right? But like they will be good if, again, if their young players step up and take over, right? It's the same conversation as the Red Sox. Yes, you added a bat that could hit 30, 35. He's not going to hit 46, 50 home runs in Camden Yards because of that wall. So you're probably looking at 30, 35, 40 home runs from Pete Alonso here. So you add that to this lineup. Yeah, it's solid. But again, a majority of your offensive production is going to have to come from guys who are young and who need to continue to step up. If Jackson Holliday becomes an all-star MVP candidate, of course they're going to be better offensively than you. But couldn't you say the exact same thing with Roman Anthony or Marcelo Meyer or Christian Campbell? Couldn't you have that conversation? What if Willie Abreu takes a step forward? And a guy like, let's say, Dylan Carlson hits around the same. So I don't know that you sit here and you say that the Orioles offense is definitively better. You could sit there and you could say, I believe in their young talent a bit more, but that young talent's got to step up. It's a lot of ifs. It is a lot of ifs. It's a lot of ifs for the Orioles as well, though. That's my entire point. There's no short thing. There's one short thing right now. Let's say there's two short things if you're going to include the addition of, obviously, Pete Alonso's a short thing, I think, at this point. The other short thing is that Gunnar Henderson's going to be a very good player. Outside of that, you can't really say Adley Rutschman's a short thing. You can't really say Jackson Holliday's a short thing. You certainly can't say either of those are a short thing. What about Colton Cowser, right? He's certainly not a short thing. Ryan O'Hearn is no longer on the team, so he's not an option. Tyler O'Neill, very far from a short thing. Samuel Basello, is that how you say it? He's far from a short thing, right? They have 9 guys hitting 15-plus home runs. How? Right? You're assuming Adley Rutschman can hit 15-plus? He could, again, versatility, but that's an if. That's an if. Right? So you're sitting there making a whole lot of ifs into they're positive for the Orioles, but negative for the Red Sox. Why? Just so you can be angry. You're putting the Yankees at 4, Christian? I don't know, dude. The Yankees getting Cole back is going to be huge. No, because the Baltimore Orioles signed Pete Alonso means they're better than the Red Sox to me. Why? Why? Who's better, Duran or Abreu? They're good in their own ways, They're good in their own ways. Yeah, give me Breggy back and let's see what happens. Who's better, Contreras or Alonso? I've already answered this question, guys. I've already answered it. I've answered it 1,000 times. Like anyone sitting here saying that Alonso isn't as good or sorry, Contreras is better than Alonso, you're just flat out wrong, right? No point in the stream have I said that I would have preferred the Red Sox picked up Contreras over Alonso. No part of this stream have I said that. Right? We're making arguments that no one's arguing against. Defense for Contreras, good. Good. Gunnar and Pete are better than Roman and Story, just being honest. Sure, maybe. I wouldn't totally disagree with that, but Jackson, there's 9 guys in the lineup, not 2. If we re-sign Alex Bregman, do I really think the Baltimore Orioles are better than us? No, I don't. I really think Campbell could play left field in Boston. Yeah, I'm sure. Just coming in, how do we feel about the trade and giving up Dobbins? I don't really like. I don't hate giving up Dobbins. I really like Dobbins. I don't hate giving him up. You may have talked about this. I think Contreras may be Sonny Gray's personal catcher. There's videos showing that. It's possible. But again, that's fine to me. If he catches once a week, I don't have a problem with that. All it does is give you more flexibility, you know? And like, yeah, he's not a great defensive catcher at this point. He's also 34 years old. But like this isn't like, oh my God, we're gonna lose games because of his type defense, you know? He's not a DH, Steve. He's actually a well above average defensive first baseman. So your facts are wrong there a little bit. The Orioles and the Red Sox are both good in their own ways. Yeah, it'll be interesting. Any chance Rafael gets at least 15 games a second next year? God, I hope not. Is Bo Bichette's? Yeah, I think Bo Bichette's still an option. We'll see. We'll see. What happens with Casas? I think they allow Casas kind of do his own thing, right? Allow him to develop back into a everyday first baseman. Either be AAA or Valdez. They haven't signed Valdez. So you're making the assumption that they signed Valdez. Let's try a different one. Let's try actual players on their team. I honestly think we have to wait and see at this point. True. Pete Alonso's defense is much worse. Pete Alonso's almost unplayable at first base. Also, the Photoshop of him he was in the 2nd percentile versus Contreras was in the 91st. That's true versatility. I agree, Dennis. I agree. I think he probably was a bigger loss, but again, that's a guy who's going to impact your team 4, 3, 5 years from now, you know? Next is getting rid of Massa. I wouldn't be shocked if they got rid of Massa. Casas still is option. Yeah. I think they could very easily start him in AAA this year. I actually think they will. I actually think they will. Yeah, it's Wilson. I think it's a solid deal. What kind of deals could Contreras on? It's a 2-year deal. Sox are paying about $14 million a season. And then he's got a club option at the end. He'll clog up the DH spot. Who? Contreras? No, he's a good fielder. Why would he clog up the DH spot? Just because he's older doesn't mean he can't play the field. Do you think we still might trade Duran? Yeah, I wouldn't take that off the table. The only things I could see them trade Duran for at this point is a pitcher. He was the number 1 scoop guy last year. That's fine, but he has no range at all. What about spending big money like they told the fans? We'll see. What is going on with Tanner Houck? Everyone seems to have forgotten him. It's because he's injured. He's not going to play this year. How are there this many people with such strong opinions, but it's not that they have no clue what they're talking about. They just have different opinions. What's the hype with Reagan's? Statistics off the charts, man. He looks a lot like Crochet did before we traded for him. Although he had a rough, ERA. Is it worth giving that up? Yeah, if you're going to keep Duran just for his speed, I think it's absolutely worth giving up. Absolutely. Like if you're the Red Sox, you're sitting there like, man, we can't give up that speed. Like there are options to bring speed to the table for this team. Like to me, the Durant conversation is not, he's just fast, so keep him. You know what I mean? It's everything Durant does. Getting his ability to get on base, what he did in terms of leadership. We need to re-sign Bregman and make one trade. Doesn't have to be Marte, maybe Reagan's. Yeah, I think there's still 2 moves out there. We'll see. Would I include earlier Tully to get Reagan's? Yeah, I would. Because at the end of the day, if Tully or early turns into Reagan's, they're one of the better pitchers in baseball, right? Would I prefer Bregman or Reagan's? It's not really comparable. At least we all know now that the Devils trade was just cutting payroll. Oh, Devers. The stats gave him bad stats for range because the Mets start their first base farther in the hole and only ask him to go to the left, so he's never right. Well, then let's see. We'll see who ends up better defensively, man. How am I doing? I'm fighting for my life. Kansas City's not trading Reagans, they said. No, they said that they would, but they'd have to get blown away. And we'll see, right? At the end of the day, we'll see. Would I rather trade Tully or early? Personally, probably early. Tired of everyone shuffling everywhere all the time. Contreras adds without dominoes. Having him in Breggy helps our young guys. Plenty to be optimistic about. You would imagine. I feel good if we can get a good pitcher for Duran. I just got here. Is it 1-for-1 with Dobbins? No, it was here's a full trade. Still plenty of offseason left, people. You would think. You would think. One would think. All right, chat. Overall thoughts. I personally think the trade is solid. Do I think it's the best move the Red Sox could make this offseason? No. Do I think that this is the big move, or do I think that this is sort of the only offensive move the Red Sox can make this offseason still be solid? No. But I like it. I think it solidifies your infield defense, which I think is important. I think it adds some pop to the lineup, which I think is important. A veteran guy is always solid, in my opinion, especially with such a young team. So we'll see how it ends up. I appreciate you guys being here, whether you spent the whole time yelling at me, whether you spent the whole time agreeing with me. I appreciate you being here regardless. Tomorrow we're going to do a full sort of, just nice, easy 15-minute full breakdown of everything going on in this trade. Money, addition to the team, subtraction from the team. We'll do all that tomorrow. Usual time, probably noon. Maybe I'll put it out a little bit earlier depending on how it goes. But regardless, I appreciate you being here. I will see you tomorrow for that video. And as always, in the red.